All right, we are live. We are live. I just watched a movie, YJHD, Ye Jawani Hai Diwani, after 10 years. And this was pretty cool. That's pretty cool. When you were young, you watch these movies as entertainment. When you grow older, you watch these movies and you try to pick out the philosophical aspects of it. You pick out on the philosophical aspects of it, which is really funny. Which is really funny. Okay, let's see. What were some of the most aesthetic, most beautiful libraries in the world? I'm just curious what libraries. Let's see. Genuine architectural treasures. Let me show you. Okay, Claude is now showing images. This is beautiful. This is beautiful. This is beauty, and this is exactly what we want. Beautiful. Claude is images. Admin Abbey Library, Austria, completed in 1776. This is the largest monastic library in the world. Its Baroque hall is bathed in light from huge windows with ceiling frescoes by Bartholomew Altamont, depicting the stage of human knowledge in white and gold interiors that feel almost weightless. Bartholomew was a beautiful bar in Vancouver. And did I go over there? I went there twice, but I didn't end up actually sitting over there. I did go on a date. And Bartholomew. Wow. Admin Abbey Library, Austria, completed 76, largest monastic library in the world. Baroque hall is bathed in light from huge windows with ceiling frescoes by Bartholomew Altamont, depicting the stages of human knowledge in white and gold interiors that feel almost about weightless. The Long Room, Trinity College Library, Dublin, Ireland, built in the early 1700s. This 65-meter barrel vaulted hall lined with incredible. The Long Room, Trinity College Library. Okay, I'm thinking about a thought, so I have to jot it down. I have to put that down. Really cool. Really cool. Built in the early 1700s, this 65-meter barrel vaulted hall lined with dark oak shelves and marble busts of philosophers is one of the most photographed library interiors on earth. It also houses the famous Book of Kells. Book of Kells. Strahov Monastery Library, Prague, Czech Republic. Its two halls, the Theological Hall and the larger Philosophical Hall, are jaw-dropping examples of Baroque and classical design, with ornate ceiling frescoes, gilded woodwork, and antique globes scattered throughout. Antique globes scattered throughout. Oh my god, look at this. No, 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 no. Its two halls, the Theological Hall and the larger Philosophical Hall, are jaw-dropping examples of Baroque and classical design. This also reminds me I need to look at something. I want to look at something. Biblioteca Joanina, Coimbra, Portugal. Portugal. Oh my god, this looks like AI generated. This looks very AI generated, but this is real. Wow. Biblioteca Joanina, Coimbra, Portugal. This 18th century Baroque library at the University of Coimbra is famous not only for its lavish gold leaf interiors and exotic wood shelving, but also for its resident colony of bats. Resident colony of bats which are released at night to eat insects that would otherwise damage the books. Wow. Wow. Resident bats that are released at night to eat insects. Wow. Tell me more. The bats are real, and they are one of the most charming examples of old world problem solving. The library being discussed is the Biblioteca Joanina, built in the early 1700s at the University of Coimbra. Why bats? All books are vulnerable to insects that eat paper, glue, leather bindings, and wooden shells. Paper, glue, leather bindings, and wooden shells. Before modern climate control and pest management, libraries had a serious problem. How do you protect hundreds of thousands of books without chemicals? The solution was surprisingly elegant. A small colony of bats lived inside the library. At night, they emerge and hunt insects around the building. Their nightly patrol acts as a natural pest control system. The tradition has reportedly continued for centuries. Doesn't bat poop ruin everything? The librarians thought about that. Every evening, staff traditionally covered tables with leather sheets before closing. In the morning, they clean up any droppings before visitors arrive. The bats spend much of the time hidden behind bookshelves and architectural crevices. The library itself. Oh my god. Extraordinary. Some remarkable details. Built between 1717 and 1728, covered in lavish gold leaf and exotic wood imported from Brazil. Walls are several feet thick, helping regulate temperature and humidity. Houses thousands of rare books, including works from the 16th, 17th, and 18th centuries, considered one of the finest surviving examples of Baroque library architecture in the world. A deeper layer. What makes the place memorable is that it combines three different kinds of intelligence: architectural intelligence, thick walls, and design that naturally preserve books; biological intelligence, bats acting as a self sustaining maintenance system; cultural intelligence, preserving knowledge across centuries. I want to try this thing. Help me figure out help me craft the tagline for my school. So my school, the fundamental of my school is curiosity, and my target customer is artists, athletes, and entrepreneurs. High performance artists, athletes, and entrepreneurs. And the goal is that, so what's the base? The base is curiosity over here, right? So what does that mean? That means that you are spending at least 1 hour every day. You are live streaming yourself, going deep into rabbit holes with AI, and that's it. So this is cool. This is where AI can really help you when you have the idea, and then you can now start understanding that, okay, are you giving me truly what I want? And then from there we will see, and then from there we can pick and choose and craft. So let's see. Elite positioning. All right, so this was the Biblioteca Joanina. George Peabody Library, Baltimore, USA. Opened in 1878, this cathedral of books features a soaring atrium with 5 tiers of cast iron balconies rising toward a skylight, all in black, gold, and cream tones. It's a favorite for weddings and photography. The Austrian National Library State Hall in Vienna, the Library of El Escorial near Madrid, the Stuttgart City Library for strikingly modern, all-white minimalist contrast, the Tianjin High Library in China, undulating floor-to-ceiling shelves around a glowing sphere. I think I've seen this one. Photos. Can I do this? Let's see. Oh my god. I've seen photos of the Austrian National Library. I don't know why this feels like this must be something. Photos. Even this Chinese library that they're talking about is designed by Dutch architecture firm MVRDV. The glowing sphere at the center is nicknamed the Eye. It contains an auditorium and creates the impression that the entire building is staring back at you. Oh my god. Wow. And let's look now at the aristocratic design. Photos. Seven 23 and 726 for Charles VI, nearly 80 meters long, crowned by a massive central dome, holds around 200,000 historic volumes filled with colossal marble statues of Habsburg emperors. The ceiling fresco by Daniel Gran depicts the apotheosis of Charles VI. The Royal Portuguese Reading Room in Rio de Janeiro. Photos. Treasure Wall and Stuttgart feels like meditation. The State Hall feels like an empire trying to turn knowledge into architecture. Golden shells rise toward a painted sky. Giant globes stand like planets, and every surface seems designed to convey a single message: knowledge is a form of power. Knowledge is a form of power. Now we're looking at the Royal Portuguese Reading Room. Oh my god. This is crazy. Wow. Just imagine being in one of these rooms. Just imagine being in one of these rooms. Why did humans make libraries? And why did humans make beautiful libraries, very aesthetic libraries like this? What was the inspiration? Curiosity is a soft nice to have. It's the actual engine of elite performance. In the practice, it proves it is concrete and a little radical. 1 hour a day, live, going down rabbit holes with the end public. A contrarian claim is that it comes from wondering. Done daily out loud, a good tagline should lean into that tension rather than just say, be curious. A few directions, each with a hero line and couple of variations so you can feel the range. Direction A. Curiosity as the elite's edge. Aspirational sets the why. Curiosity is the edge. The best in the world never stop asking. Discipline makes you good. Curiosity makes you great. The best in the world never stop asking. Curiosity is the edge. Curiosity is the edge. The daily ritual, concrete, ownable, sticky, a rabbit hole a day. A rabbit hole a day. Curiosity is the edge. A rabbit hole a day. A rabbit hole a day keeps doctor away. Memorable and weirdly precise to your moral. 1 hour, one rabbit hole every day. Go deep daily. Direction C. Involve like out loud, sells a radical practice itself. Get curious out loud. We chase questions in the open, wonder, witness. If you want one line that carries the whole thing, I would pair a philosophy line with a practice line like curiosity is the edge. 1 hour a day down the rabbit hole out loud. A rabbit hole a day. I like direction B, especially a rabbit hole a day. Libraries began as a solution to a fragile problem. Knowledge that lived only in human memory died with the person who held it. Writing let ideas outlast their authors, but individual documents scatter. Outlast their authors, but individual documents scatter, burn, rot, and get lost. A library is the institutional answer, a place to collect, organize, and protect what would otherwise dissolve. The earliest ones we know of, like the clay tablet archive of Ashurbanipal at Nineveh. I actually know a person who is named Nineveh. In the 7th century BC were century administrative and scholarly stockpiles. By the time of the Library of Alexandria, the ambition had grown enormous to gather all of the world's knowledge under one roof. Underneath all of it is a simple, almost moving impulse to let the dead speak to the living and the living to the unborn. A library is a bridge across time. Okay, so help me make a tagline for Twitter. And so I'm thinking what this would look like is, first it says something like, I'm founder of a school, and then number 2, what is the mission of this school? It borrows the rhythm of an apple a day, a rabbit hole a day, which makes it feel like a daily essential, almost medicinal. It's short, ownable, and the rabbit hole is your unique unit. And as a bonus, it gives you a built-in name for your members, rabbit holers. What are you rabbit holing today? Basically writes your community language for you. A tagline like this works best as a 2-part lockup. The hook on top, then a line underneath that delivers the payoff on the specifics. 3 ways to finish depending on what you want to emphasize. A rabbit hole a day, 1 hour live with AI. A rabbit hole a day because curiosity is the edge. A rabbit hole a day keeps the ordinary away. Lean into your audience, spirit of being ordinary. A rabbit hole a day keeps the ordinary away. My gut says the playful riff is the most memorable and the most you. It signals you don't take yourself too seriously while still landing the high performance promise. But the practice forward one is clearer, so people don't know yet what your school actually does. Rabbit hole a day, 1 hour live with AI. Which one of these feels right, or do you want me to push the riff further and generate a few more variations so keeps the dash away? Written by roughly 160 characters, so the move is say who you are, then let the mission do the punch. Founder of a school for the breathlessly curious. Rabbit hole a day, mission forward, building a school with artists, athletes, and entrepreneurs. A rabbit hole a day, punchy fragments, founder of a school. Curiosity is the end, so I built a school for it. 1 rabbit hole out loud with AI. I think Okay, create a summary of our entire conversation that I could feed into Super Grok. I think Grok would do a better job over here. Tagline and branding for a new school. I'm founder of a new school. Here's everything you need to know to help me continue developing the brand. Core fundamental curiosity. The belief is that curiosity is the real engine of elite performance, not just grinding or optimizing. Target audience, high performance artists, athletes, and entrepreneurs. The core practice mechanic, every member and children. Every member spends at least 1 hour every day live streaming themselves, going deep into rabbit holes with ads, daily, public, out loud, and AI assisted. We land on the tagline, explore several directions, choose the daily ritual angle, winning hero line, rabbit hole a day. Emergent brand language members are called rabbit holers. The verb is to rabbit hole. What are you rabbit holing today? The tagline works as a two-part lock up, hook plus play of these three candidate sublines. Practice forward 1 hour live with AI, belief, payoff. Because curiosity is the edge. Keep the ordinary away. Writing launch tweets. Okay, let's see. This is cool. Yeah, we are supposed to be solving problems on the go. Got it. This sharp high signal concept. The rabbit hole a day ritual is memorable, ownable, and perfectly positioned for ambitious anti-ordinary people and their kids. It flips the usual grind narrative into something addictive and playful. School name recommendations. Rabbit Hole Academy. Clean, instantly understandable, owns the core metaphor. The rabbit hole, bold and minimalist, feels like a movement more than a traditional school. Holders Academy. Curiosity Forge. Deepwell School, Wonderwell Academy. Wonderwell. The Burrow. Solvency for Edge. Edge School. Edge School. Network School. Founder for relentlessly curious artists, athletes, and entrepreneurs, and the kids rabbit holiday 1 hour live with AI. Slightly more belief driven. Building Rabbit Hole Academy. Curiosity is the real edge. We train high performance to go deep daily. 1 hour live stream rabbit holing with AI. Where elite performers and the children master the ultimate skill of falling down rabbit holes on purpose. 1 hour live daily. Founder of a school, a rabbit hole a day keeps this is the winner. It's memorable, keeps the ordinary away. A rabbit hole a day keeps the ordinary away. It's memorable, emotionally charged, attacks the fear of mediocrity, and has a playful confidence your audience will love. A rabbit hole a day. Okay. Okay, this is good. Building a school. It's memorable, emotionally charged, and has that playful confidence your audience will love. Alternative strong combo. Copy strategy. For most external copy, Twitter landing page headline end on a hook. Leave them slightly unsettled or intrigued, curiosity when people respond better to open loops than hot CTs. Example, rabbit hole a day keeps the ordinary away. What are you rabbit holing today? What do you want to tackle next? Okay. Craft the Twitter bio for me. Give me 10 variations. Wait, I said craft. It's beautiful how little things are changing over here. It's beautiful. Found a rabbit hole academy for relentlessly curious artists, athletes, and entrepreneurs and their kids. A rabbit hole a day. One on live with AI. Building rabbit hole academy. Curiosity is the ultimate edge. We train high performers to go deep daily, 1 hour live streamed rabbit holing with AI. Founder of the rabbit hole, where elite artists, athletes, and entrepreneurs master the art of falling down rabbit holes on purpose. Founder of Rabbit Hole Academy, a rabbit hole a day keeps the ordinary away. Creating a school for high performers. Entrepreneurs and kids, 1 hour daily. Curiosity School. And what if I search Curiosity School? What happens? Whoa, what is this design change? Preschool, kindergarten in Central Bucks County. L'école Curieuse, the Curious School. Curiosity classrooms. Curiosity Academy. Founder of the Curiosity School. Rabbit hole a day keeps the ordinary away. Founder of the Curiosity School. A rabbit hole a day keeps the ordinary away. Hmm. The Curiosity School, a rabbit hole a day keeps the ordinary away. A rabbit hole a day keeps the ordinary away. Okay. Founder of the Rabbit Hole Academy. Turning curiosity into competitive advantage. A rabbit hole a day, 1 hour live with AI. John the Holders, relentlessly curious founder. Bring the rabbit hole daily, 1 hour live. Rabbit holing with AI for high performance artists, athletes, entrepreneurs, and kids. Founder of Rabbit Hole Academy. Believe curiosity is the real engine of elite performance. 1 rabbit hole a day, live with AI. The most complete and balanced. Number 4 leans into the tagline strongly keeps the ordinary away. Okay, here's my new tagline. Whoa. Founder of the Curiosity School, a rabbit hole a day keeps the ordinary away. And directly owns the core value, curiosity, while still pairing beautifully with the rabbit hole metaphor. Here are 10 refined Twitter founder of Curiosity School, rabbit hole a day keeps the ordinary away. 1 hour live with AI for artists, athletes, entrepreneurs, and the kids. Curious artists. The US should lead on AI by continuing to develop the very best models, making sure they are safe and getting cyber tools into the hands of trusted offenders. What he would tell every 25-year-old. I would tell them that every person in the world is an individual with a different genetic makeup and a different upbringing, and the way that we're thinking is so radically different than every other person in the world and incomparable that if you have an idea and you want to move forward with it, don't worry so much about the competition because nobody will be able to replicate you and the way you think about it. People spend years finding the perfect coach or book or program without asking the more important question: am I coachable? The cost of starting a company used to be $5 million, then 500, then 50,000. Now it's closer to 500. The only expensive thing left is your unwillingness, fear to begin. Connor decides to go on the run. Okay. Europe's first Apple Developer Center to open in Berlin. So much cool stuff is happening. So much cool stuff is happening. Okay, so for now we'll keep this for now we'll keep this what we have right now. Let's see. For most, actually there was a very interesting one, which was, what is the psychology of curiosity? The first is that for most of history, knowledge was considered sacred and the library was treated as a temple. It's some accident that so many of the stunning ones, Edmund, Hof, Melk, the long room, were monastic or religious in the medieval and early modern Christian worldview. Why make them beautiful? Why pour gold leaf frescoes and marble into what could have been plain storage? A few threads come together. A library is a bridge across time. Let the dead speak to the living and the living to the unborn. Monastic religious in the medieval and early modern Christian worldview, to study creation and scripture was an act of devotion. So the room that held that knowledge deserved the Curiosity School. The Curiosity School. The Curiosity School, TCS. Oh wow. So basically what I'm running is called TCS. The Curiosity School, TCS. In the medieval and early modern Christian worldview, to study creation and scripture was an act of devotion. So the room that held that knowledge deserved the same reverence as a church. Architecture says so directly. The long room and the Joannina feels like names, and the George Peabody's literally nicknamed a cathedral of books, making the space beautiful, was a way of honoring the holiness of what it contained. The second is power and prestige. A great library was a statement of a monarch's wealth and orders, sophistication, and universities' legitimacy. The Habsburgs' State Hall in Vienna and the Portuguese king's Joannina were, among other things, propaganda of magnificence. Collecting and displaying knowledge was a form of soft power, and overwhelming grandeur was how the era communicated it. I'm also curious about this. What will happen to YouTube if, let's say, 1 million people, a new million users, start live streaming for 1 hour every single day? I'm just curious, let's see. Uploaded daily about 41,000 simultaneous live streams on average, assuming they are evenly distributed throughout the day, roughly 365 million hours of live video per year. The interesting part is not the storage or bandwidth. The interesting part is attention, the attention paradox. Imagine a city where everyone opens a bookstore but nobody opens a new reading room. The bottleneck isn't content creation, it's human attention. Today, YouTube already has vastly more content than any human could ever consume. Adding another million daily live streams would barely change the total amount of attention available. Most streams get zero viewers. A huge percentage of streams would have zero viewers, one viewer, two to five. This already happens today. The median live stream audience would likely fall further. Discovery becomes more algorithmic. As content supply explodes, recommendation systems become even more important. The algorithm becomes less like a librarian and more like an air traffic controller. Instead of asking, hmm, Instead of asking what should people watch, it asks out of 40,000 live streams happening right now, which 20 should this viewer see? Niche communities flourish. While most streams would remain unseen, incredibly specific communities could emerge. Examples: people building telescopes, Gujarati poetry discussions, 24/7 ant colony observation, daily philosophy salons, live coding niche software. The internet becomes more fragmented but also more diverse. Live streaming becomes infrastructure. Today, live streaming feels like a performance. In that world, it starts feeling more like a phone call, a co working space, a digital campfire. Many people wouldn't stream for an audience, they would stream while working, while studying, while making art, while gardening, while learning. The stream becomes a presence technology. The bigger winners may become bigger counterintuitively. More creators often strengthens the largest creators. The live stream school, live stream school, live stream school, the live stream school. The live stream school. Oh, we have a question over here. Are you rich? I'm not. I would like to feel that you are always rich. You are rich right now. But why do you ask this question? The biggest winners may become bigger. Counterintuitively, more creators often strengthens the largest creators. Why? When people face overwhelming choice, they gravitate toward trusted brands. A viewer confronted with 50,000 live streams may simply choose Kaisen at iShowSpeed Ludwig. The deeper question: a million people streaming daily is really a thought experiment about what happens when the cost of broadcasting approaches zero. Historically, printing press, more writers; camera, more photographers; internet, more publishers; AI, more creators; universal live streaming, everyone becomes a broadcaster. The scarce resource stops being information. The scarce resource becomes attention. Live streaming, at the end of the day, will become something that people do for the sake of itself. They do it for themselves. They are not doing for someone else. They're doing for themselves because it puts them into this beautiful flow state where they're truly engaged and they're able to find the right people around the world who think like them. And it's still not even about the people, it's wholly about themselves. Like, how do they really engage in this world with the things that they care about and truly go deeper and deeper into the things and learn about them. The scarce resource becomes attention, trust, taste, community. In that world, the most valuable person is not the one who can create content, it's the person who can consistently gather a tribe of people who want to spend time together. For someone like you, this is particularly relevant. Live streams are not competing against all content on YouTube. They are competing for a small group of people interested in AI, entrepreneurship, philosophy, art, and human potential. If broadcasting becomes universal, community becomes the moat. To be honest, you look rich. What makes you feel that? I'm really curious. And hope your exams went well, Sanjeev. I think you're pointing at something deeper than content creation. Flow state is very important. Curiosity is really important. Live stream is interesting. So the curiosity school, the live stream school, live stream school, the live stream school, live stream school. I think instead of curiosity school, I want to change the name to the live stream school, because live stream is clearly the activity that we can okay, I like this. A live stream a day keeps the ordinary away. Founder of the Livestream School, TLS. A live stream a day keeps the ordinary away. The Livestream School. All right. Cool. You remember me? Yes, I remember you. And I think this is really cool. The reason I remember you is because I was about to leave. I left my home in Vancouver, and that's when I remember seeing your message in the chat. And right after that, and that was the time when I was really going deeper and deeper into all these live streams were changing the way how I'm thinking, and finally it was leading to making decisions in my life about where I am. And that's when we made the decision to come over here uh, to the network school. So I remember you. I think you're pointing at something deeper than content creation. For most of history, people sang without recording albums. People sang without recording albums. Let's see. They danced without performing professionally. They painted without galleries. They told stories without publishing books. The activity itself was the reward. What happened with social media is that many creative acts became entangled with audience status metrics and monetization. The act became a means to an end. Okay, let's see. Actually, I think I would like to call it the Livestream School with the tagline, a live stream a day keeps the ordinary away. I hope you got it. Yes, you got it. Version 1. Okay. How can we make the name sound more aristocratic? Let's see. It's always cool to make it more fancier. The Livestream Academy, the Livestream Academy, the Livestream School, Livestream School. I think school. The reason it's good to name it school is because I think it's easier for people to understand that okay, you're running a school, academy, the Livestream Academy, TLA, the Royal Livestream Academy, the Royal Livestream School, TRLS. Livestream Institute, the Elysian Livestream Society, Academy of Live Streams, the Sovereign Livestream School, DSLS, Livestream Lyceum, the Vanguard Livestream Collective, Institute of Deep Streams, whoa, the Noble Stream Society, the Noble Ashley. Keeping it simple is actually really cool. Okay, so what happens if I search the Livestream School? What comes up? There's nothing like that. School curriculum classroom test. You get curiosity, live stream, conversation, learning. Imagine thousands of people live streaming. I think if you want to own a word, let's own the live stream world, founder of the Livestream School. All right, so this looks amazing. Let's go. What happened with social media is that many creative acts became entangled with audience status, metrics, and monetization. The act became a means to an end. The act became a means to an end. But live streaming has a strange property. You can collapse the distance between doing and sharing. Imagine an artist painting alone in a studio, and I imagine the same artist painting with that window open. People can wander by, look, and maybe wave. I think this is so beautiful. This reminds me when I was in Italy, I was. Are you going to open Livestream School? Yes, we are. I have. It's really cool. I went on this path of finding this idea that I would like to live stream myself because I had a podcast, but the problem with the podcast is that you are always dependent on someone else's schedule. And if you are talking to people all around the world, you have to sometimes you have to record a podcast, which is like around 2 a.m. Now that is going to totally mess up your schedule. So live stream, I thought this is cool. This is allowing me to go deeper into a topic that I am interested in. I am building a connection with the audience, and I can do it on my schedule, and I can build a routine around it. So this was pretty cool. And then I started, and we have done this for almost 2 years now. And now as I'm talking to more and more friends, it's really cool that I'm able to share that how that has helped me enter into flow state, help me get control over my day, get control over, just have a sort of control during the day. And I told this one person who's also running a school, and he started doing live streams, and now he's doing pretty cool. So, and some other people who have started live streaming because of that. So now we are actually making this into a proper school, the live stream school. What happens over here is that you feel like today a lot of things are happening to you and you are not happening to the world. So how do you happen to the world? You happen by live streaming, because now what is happening is that you have opened AI, you have someone who is constantly looking at you. It's not someone looking at you, it's like, I don't know that you were here. I didn't know that you were gonna click on this link and you were gonna watch me stream. But that's the idea, that somebody could be looking at you while you have no idea. So just this idea of someone witnessing you, that's kind of a forcing function for me to be productive and for me to actually talk about things that are relevant and actually go deeper into the things that I care about. And then that is a really good practice. So you're not only getting curious, you're not only learning about interesting ideas, you're not only exploring the rabbit holes that you're interested in, but also you are, along the way, you're building a community, and you are building a community with people who get to know you in a much deeper way than what you would get to know someone from just a tweet. So that's the entire idea of the Livestream School, and this is a proper school now. And we have people all around the world: Canada, Europe, Network School, Malaysia, Singapore, India. And slowly it'll be really cool to start a location. We pretty much have a location over here in Network School. Livestream School resides in Network School. So yeah, this is our school. So you don't do it for views. Very interesting question. Do I do it for views? Number one, I do it for myself, because it helps me enter into flow state. This is something I can control every single day. And it's less about views, the number of views, it's more about the relationships that I build, right? Like you over here, now you know so much more about me that what's the word? You kind of trust me. I don't know, but you kind of trust me, right? Because you have seen so much of my content and so much of my thinking, which you might have not seen of any other influencer on TikTok or Instagram. So there's this idea that I'm more focused on fewer relationships rather than millions of numbers of views. And that is where the world is headed, right? With AI, what is happening is that everybody has access to everything. So you will have fewer massive influencers and you will have a lot more nano, micro nano influencers. And what that basically means is that in your community, you would just know that, okay, this is the friend that I trust for this thing, and I'm going to spend time with him. So that's where the world is headed. But views are nice. It's good to have some views. Imagine an artist painting alone in the studio. And this is what I was talking about. Like when I was in Italy, it was really cool. There were these couple artists who were sitting at the beach and who were painting. And there's this idea that beauty needs witness. This is a really cool book. So this is the guy I was talking about that I helped, founder of another school. It's called the Knowledge Society. And the Knowledge Society, right? DKS, yes, the Knowledge Society. I helped the founder of the school with getting into live streaming, and he gifted me this book, The Alabaster Girl. And one of the key ideas of this book, The Alabaster Girl, is beauty needs witness. Beauty, something beautiful, all alone in isolation, is not really complete. What makes it complete is when the beauty is being witnessed by someone, which basically means a teacher needs a student, a beautiful art needs a viewer who really appreciates that art. So there's a relationship over here. You don't exist in isolation. Not Beauty doesn't exist in isolation. Beauty needs a witness. So I know these artists, and at Amalfi in Positano, right at the beach, they are painting, and I know that it's not just that they get into flow state much more because of the fact that they know that there are thousands of people, not thousands, but there are hundreds of people around them who are walking around the beach and who are following, like who are looking at their paintings. And that is kind of a pressure. That is a good forcing function to paint something good. And then they are also kind of interacting with other people, and they are getting those ideas and flavors in their mind. And it kind of keeps them on their feet. It keeps the artist on their feet. So that is what's happening over here. That's again what's happening with live streams. Imagine an artist painting alone in a studio. Now imagine the same artist painting with a window open. People can wander by, look in, maybe wave, maybe stay. The painting is still the point. The audience is incidental. The audience helps. The witness helps. And thank you for the questions. That's a very different psychology from traditional media. When you stream every day, after enough months, something interesting happens. You stop thinking, what content should I make? And start thinking, what am I genuinely curious about today? The stream becomes a thinking tool, a notebook that talks back, a laboratory for attention, a mechanism for sustained curiosity. A notebook that talks back, a laboratory for attention, a mechanism for sustained curiosity. A mechanism for sustained curiosity. The viewers become less like an audience and more like fellow travelers who occasionally appear on the path. See, Sanjeev, you are a fellow traveler who occasionally appear on my path. That's really cool. Like last time I saw you, or last time I heard from you, it was in my home in Canada. And since that, lots of interesting things have happened. In that world, the value of live streaming is not fame, followers, money, reach. Fame, followers, money, reach. The value is that it creates a structure around curiosity. Human beings naturally drift toward comfort and distraction. A daily stream creates a container that says, for the next hour, I'm going to investigate something that genuinely fascinates me. That is a surprisingly powerful commitment device. Investigate something that genuinely fascinates me. Okay, this reminds me that we got to update on another platform. Really cool. That is a surprisingly powerful commitment device. This is why your own streams often seem less like entertainment and more like public research sessions. You are not primarily trying to convince or perform, you are exploring. The camera is almost secondary. If cameras become effectively free and AI makes production effortless, I suspect the most common form of media in the future won't be polished videos. It will look more like scientists thinking aloud, founders building in public, scientists thinking aloud, founders building in public, artists experimenting, students learning, philosophers wrestling with ideas. Millions of tiny curiosity engines scattered across the planet. And the fascinating thing is that the audience doesn't necessarily dilute the authenticity, sometimes it amplifies it. When actually, I have a question for you, Sanjeev, if you're still here. Uh, what do you think about me making all my live streams private? Just curious if you're still here. And the fascinating thing is that the audience doesn't necessarily dilute the authenticity, sometimes it amplifies it. When another human being is watching, even silently, you tend to bring a slightly more attentive version of yourself to the activity. You articulate your thoughts more clearly. You stay with the problem a little longer. You notice things you would otherwise miss. The stream becomes a mirror. Live stream is again a very interesting way to document your journey and document your thoughts. It's not just, you don't just have photos. I think this is something that I used to do. I remember I remember going on a trip to Italy, and after that I was not after that, like there was a beautiful moment, and I was like, and that was one of the time when I realized that I've been traveling so much, and it would be so cool if I could capture myself, if I could capture what I'm thinking right now, feeling right now. And I started, that's when I started recording videos of my thought process on my phone. But now, but now or after that, during streams, I'm now recording 1 hour, 2 hour, sometimes 3 hour deep dives about my thoughts and what I'm thinking and everything. So this is really cool. This is really cool. This is really cool. It's a really cool database of my evolution and how my thinking has changed. Millions of tiny curiosity engines scattered across the planet. And the fascinating thing is that the audience doesn't necessarily dilute the authenticity, sometimes it amplifies it. When another human being is watching, even silently, you tend to bring a slightly more attentive version of yourself to the activity. This is really cool. Yeah, it's documenting your I need to write all of these. It's better to share than making video private, I guess. Okay. I'm curious about you. Would you like to go back and see? I've been live streaming for last 1.5 years, almost 2 years. Is this something that you would be interested in to go back and see my streams? But thank you for your response. Yeah, I should be documenting these ideas about documenting. Let's see. Documenting, control during chaos, flow state, curiosity, witness makes you perform better. Okay, a lot of good thoughts. When another human being is watching this on the stream becomes a mirror, not a mirror for your appearance, but for your attention. Maybe that's why libraries became beautiful. They weren't merely warehouses for books, they were architectures designed to elevate the quality of thought. A future live stream might serve a similar role, not a broadcast station, a room for thinking. All right, let's get back to beauty. Stages of human knowledge weren't mere decoration, they were an argument made in paint about the unity and divine order of all learning. You were meant to read the room as much as the books. Beneath these runs an older philosophical conviction traceable back to Plato that beauty, truth, and goodness are kin. If a place is dedicated to truth, the thinking goes, it ought to be beautiful because beauty and truth belong together. Beauty and truth. Truth is beautiful. Beauty and truth. Beauty is truth because beauty is truth. It's so interesting. This is actually something I was trying to think about. Beauty is truth. There was a concert, not even a concert. There was just like a stage, and like there was a band, and these three guys are playing. This is in the middle of Bangalore at a big mall, Phoenix Market City. I guess that was the name, Phoenix Market City. I was there with my sister, and they're playing good songs. There are not many people, and so me and my sister, we just arrived. So we were just standing there. We were watching the band play, and then let's say 20 minutes later, they they pick up a series of extremely beautiful songs. Like there was the song Kamoshia. I think after that, did they have one Arjit Singh song? I don't know, I forgot. But they had Kamoshia, that one I remember. But they had a series of, let's say, 3 to 4 back-to-back songs that were extremely beautiful, and they were singing really well. And beauty is truth. It was so beautiful that people were pulled towards it. You can see that the moment they started those songs, people are walking and people are standing over there because they are pulled towards it. They don't know what's happening, but they are pulled towards it. It's very natural for humans. When we see beauty, when we feel beauty, beauty is truth, and we are pulled towards beauty. It takes effort to not be pulled towards beauty. And then the moment, and after those 3 4 songs, they started playing some songs, and he was singing well, but the choice of the song was not that good. And suddenly, the dispersal happens, the dispersal starts. I would love to watch your videos. As I said earlier, I don't know why, but I love your vibe. Hey, thank you. Appreciate it. Hmm. Thank you. Yeah, that was me 2 years ago. Very interesting when I had first started this entire thing. I'm really curious, what is something that you can't stop thinking about these days? I know you have to also go to bed, but I'm curious. Beauty and truth belong together. There was also a practical humanist belief that beautiful surroundings elevate the mind. Beautiful surroundings elevate the mind. That grandeur puts a scholar in the right frame of contemplation, reverent and aspiring rather than distracted. The aesthetics served the function. The aesthetics served the function. Yeah, this is again true. Like when the Greeks, when the Romans, they were building architecture, it was beauty was not an afterthought. These were one of the 3 pillars. I forgot what the other pillars, but it was function. This building obviously has to be functional. It has to do the thing that it's supposed to do. It has to be beautiful. And then there was another one. What were the 3 principles of, or whatever, 3 or 4 or 5 principles of some sort of European, Roman, Greek architecture where beauty was not an afterthought, but beauty was was one of the fundamentals of how they built architecture? The Greeks and later Romans didn't think of beauty as a decoration. They thought beauty as evidence that something was properly ordered. Proportion. 5 ideas show up again and again. Proportion, symmetry, harmony, order, elevation. It wasn't this one, but okay. Parts and whole. The relationship between parts and whole. So proportion, symmetry, fitting together, harmony, deep connection between music, mathematics, and architecture. Really cool. Okay. But don't you think that it's oh, but don't you think that it sound weak to do live stream and have thousand of people but don't you think that it sound weak to do live stream and have thousand of people watch you to concentrate or go in flow state? Should we not practice it without an external factor? Good question. I experiment with everything. There are some times when I'm exploring some things where I maybe don't want to share with everybody, so I do that in private. So this is interesting. These days, let's say in the last 1 month, I have been experimenting a lot with doing exactly what I do, but not go live, just with myself. The interesting thing is, I don't get into flow. So this is very interesting. This is where there is this idea of the person who wrote about flow. His name is Mihai Csikszentmihalyi, and he has this beautiful book around flow. And there are many factors of how you get into flow. On a higher level, it's basically you need to have just the right amount of skill and just the right amount of challenge. And when you have the right balance of when you are in the sweet spot of the challenge and the skill, that's when you enter into flow state. So that's that. But there are other factors, and all the factors is also this idea of risk or danger. And I think when you are just searching a prompt on Claude without going live, there is no sort of danger. Over here, there is this little bit of danger. The danger is that what if I say something weird? What if I show something weird on my screen and it goes live and everybody sees that, right? So there is this a certain amount of danger over here. And I think that is what forces you to get into flow state. So a little bit of risk and danger is required to get into a much better flow state. It's beautiful to read that. Like, this is the reason why a lot of people, the entire movie F1 is all about flow state. Because if you think about it, what Brad Pitt was saying is, I wish I could remember exactly the quote that he said, but he's basically saying this. He's saying this thing that I'm chasing. The girl is like, what? Why? Why are you back? Why are you racing? Or why do you race? And he's like, I'm chasing this feeling when I am ahead of the pack. I'm ahead of all the other 12 cars or 20 cars, and I am just flying. So what he's talking about is flow state, because there is skill. He's really good at racing. There is challenge. You not only had to get ahead of all the 20 people, but now you have to stay ahead and you have to stay on track and you have to still swerve and keep your number one. And there's a lot of danger because you are driving at whatever 200 miles per hour, and one wrong turn, you could be knocked out. So, and what is also happening is the doing and being is merged. This is again something beautiful, where your skill level is so high and the challenge is just right, that when you are driving the car feels part of you. The car is no more, it's no more that you and the car are separate entities. You merge into one because you feel so much control. You understand all the controls. You might have seen how the steering wheel has so many controls. You are so skilled, you feel that this is part of you. The car is part of you. So it's very interesting. But you can see like how this flow state is kind of something that you shouldn't be. I mean, if you want to get into a flow state easily, then this shouldn't be how you actually achieve flow state, because the probability of you getting into a flow state is once or twice in a year, because there are only 24 races in a year, F1 races. Out of that, how many times you would actually cross or overtake every single car and get in the front and keep your number one position and end as number one, as P1. So you have kind of reduced the probability of you getting into that beautiful peak flow state. So yeah, that's my spiel. But don't you think that it sound weak to do live stream and have thousands of people watch you to concentrate or go in flow state? Should we not practice it without any external factor? Yeah, you should practice it without an external factor too. Skiing is a good example. When you ski, when you get really skilled at skiing, I was skiing in Whistler, I was skiing in Vancouver, and when you get not really skilled, but when you get good enough skill for the slope, for the mountain, you feel like you're entering into a flow state. Wow, that sounds so great. Thank you. This was one of the interesting thoughts that I had after watching F1 the movie. I'm guessing you have watched F1 the movie. If you have not, you have to watch it. It's like a guy's movie. I watched it with my buddies. I think first day late night show. The only seats we got was first row, and we are watching it, and it was so good. Like I think just like 5 minutes into it, I'm talking to my buddy. I'm like, hey, I think this is gonna be the first movie that I'm gonna rewatch in the theater, and then I actually come back. But the first two times when I watched the movie, I was just appreciating the production value. I was just appreciating the music. I was just appreciating the cuts and the scenes and all the fast cars and everything. I was appreciating that. They were also using some really good music from like 1980s rock bands. That was incredible. It's like I'm still thinking about it right now. Actually, in my plane from India to Malaysia, there was a guy who was watching F1 beside me. So I'm like, I cannot imagine. I can imagine the state that he's in right now. But anyways, the first two times I just cared about the music, the production, the the cuts, the fast cars, and all of that. But this third time when I watch at home, at my desk, where I actually stream, that's when I'm like, wow, this entire movie is all about this one line that Brad Pitt says. Actually, let's find that. What was the dialogue of Brad Pitt in the movie F1 where he's talking about he all he wants to do is just fly and the feeling that he's chasing? Ah, Claude, copyright issues. So we're gonna go to Grok because Grok doesn't give a shit about copyright. All right, let's go. Hmm, it's rare, but sometimes there's this moment in the car where everything goes quiet. My heartbeat slows. It's peaceful, and I can see everything, and no one can touch me. And I'm chasing that moment every time I get in the car. I don't know when I will find it again, but man, I want to. I want to. Because in that moment, I'm flying. So beautiful. So beautiful. So beautiful. I wish I can remember this. I would try to remember this this quote. It's rare, but sometimes there's this moment in the car where everything goes quiet. My heartbeat slows. It's peaceful, and I can see everything, and no one can touch me. And I'm chasing that moment every time I get in the car. I don't know when I will find it again, but man, I want to. I want to. Because in that moment, I'm flying. This monologue captures Sony explaining the transcendent flow state or peak experience he chases in racing beyond winning, speed, or fame. So this is what it's about, right? Like after a while, once you make money, once you make some money that you can live, let's say, and let's say you get fame, then you are like, what is this all about? How do I spend my time now? And then you start realizing that maybe how you truly want to spend your time is getting into flow state. And what is flow state? Flow state basically means that you are engaged. You are not just consuming. You are not consuming food. You are not consuming conversations. You are not consuming TV. You're not consuming anything. You are creating. You are engaged with the world. You're engaged with reality. So right now, I'm engaged. I'm not consuming. I'm consuming the stuff, but this consumption is leading to me thinking and thinking about it and then talking to you. So I'm really engaged right now. And this is the state you want to be in. This comes when you are in conversations, when you're doing an activity that you feel, mostly activities that you do with hands, like woodwork and stuff like that. In F1, you are driving a car that is really fast, so you got to be really attentive. Sonny Hayes in 2025 movie F1. This monologue captures Sonny explaining the transcendent flow state or peak experience he chases in racing beyond winning, speed, or fame. It aligns closely with your description of wanting to just fly and pursuing that elusive feeling. Slight variations appear in some da da da. What would Mihai, Csikszentmihalyi, say about Brad Pitt's dialogue from the movie? I hope you got the spelling right. This is crazy. Like Whisper Flow is getting the spelling right. Mihai Csikszentmihalyi. That was just a crazy last name. All right. Mihai Csikszentmihalyi, 34, 2021, psychologist who developed the theory of flow, would likely view Brad Pitt's dialogue as an excellent, vivid description of a classic flow state. Define flow as a state of complete absorption in activity where the person is so immersed that nothing else seems to matter. The experience itself is intrinsically rewarding, autotelic. Time perception distorts. You forget about time. Like right now, I'm looking at time, it's 1 hour 22 minutes, and I'm like, wow, I just spent 1 hour 22 minutes over here. I had no idea how this time went. Time perception distorts. The ego falls away. The ego falls away, which is very interesting. The ego falls away. What that means is that you forget about this idea of I. I don't know more. This gets more into psychology, or this is both philosophical and psychological. Action feels effortless and in perfect harmony. Effortless and perfect harmony. Again, the being and doing has merged. Key elements. Everything goes quiet. My heartbeat slows. It's peaceful. No one can touch me. This captures loss of self-consciousness, merging of action and awareness. Being and doing, exactly. Merging of action and awareness. And a deep sense of control and calm focus. Control and calm focus. I can see everything. Enhanced perception and concentration on the task. It's beautiful. I think after, like, there is this idea. I think there is this beautiful idea in F1 when a lot of people, like, think about Senna, think about Ayrton, I don't know how to say his first name, Ayrton, Ayrton Senna, Michael Schumacher. After you keep winning, you need to know why you are driving. Because for Schumacher, for Senna, after winning, let's say 2 Grand Prix, 3 Grand Prix, they are like, okay, now is it about just like collecting these pieces of metal, or is there something more to it? Is there something more to it that keeps me alive, that going on these tracks and really engaging with intensity with these cars and really pushing my limits? Is that something that I'm looking for? So they came up with this idea that yes, we feel something, we feel that we are in this idea, this thing called flow state. And then F1 actually started capturing this because they have realized that when they have kind of started seeing this, that when the driver is in flow state, they start seeing that suddenly the metrics, suddenly the speed goes really fast, the metrics become really smooth, the clutch, the gear changes, and all the switches that they keep doing, it becomes really smooth, and they also track their heartbeat, and their heartbeat actually drops. So it's really cool to actually look into that research, because F1 does that research of what happens to the metrics, to the biometrics, to the car metrics when the driver enters flow state, when the driver enters true flow state. It would be really cool to also look into other sports where obviously now we have more and more metrics. People are wearing devices like Whoop. People are getting really into measuring every single aspect of their body. It would be really cool for high performance athletes to see, to look into this research of what happens when they enter flow state. How does their body react? What truly happens? Okay, let's see. When sometimes I study my favorite topic, I just forget who I am, lose the sense of time, study for 6-7 hours straight without realizing time is that flow state. This is it. I'm really curious, what are these subjects for you? This is really cool. And I'm also curious, Like when something like this has happened, were you just, let's say, reading a textbook, or were you actively doing something with your hand, like you were writing something on a piece of paper and you were trying to solve an equation, you were just taking notes, you were just making doodles or drawings, or yeah, I'm also curious about that. This is really cool. This captures loss of self consciousness, merging of action and awareness, and a deep sense of control and calm focus. I can see everything. I'm chasing that moment. I'm flying. The autotelic nature, the activity racing becomes its own reward. I believe F1 also measures or tracks, and there have been studies around how do both the biometrics and the car metrics change when the driver enters into flow state. Tell me more about that. Becomes its own reward. People in flow often describe metaphorically as flying, floating, being carried by a current. The chasing reflects how flow is elusive and highly motivating. Once experienced, people seek to recreate it. Csikszentmihalyi frequently noted that such states occur when challenge matches or slightly exceeds skill level, with clear goals and immediate feedback. I believe you live in Chennai, right? If I am not wrong. Okay, so game dev and DSA. DSA is data science, not data science. I think it's database and algorithm, I believe. Database, data structures and algorithms happens when I'm solving some tough problem. Really cool, really cool. Is that what you truly enjoy? Do you really enjoy solving problems? Because if you have entered into flow state, that is kind of the peak. I believe you said yes to Chennai. I don't know what you said yes to. Did you say yes to Chennai or yes to the fact that, uh, yeah, like this is what you truly enjoy? Um, yes, I do. Okay, yeah, because it's interesting. Like I think once we experience flow state, which is kind of the peak. Mihai basically says that, yeah, like think about it. Like okay, you look around the world and you're like, what are people running after? People are, okay, both, perfect. What are people running after? People are running after, let's say, money. Okay, so let's say I transferred $100,000 into your bank account today. What now? People are running after six pack abs. Let's say I gave you steroids and now you have six pack abs. People are running after relationships. Let's say you have a beautiful girlfriend, extremely beautiful girlfriend. What now? So you got $100,000 in your bank account. You got you got injected with steroids and now you have six pack abs, and you have an extremely beautiful girlfriend. Now what? Now how do you spend your time? All these things that people are running after all their life, I just gave that to you. Let's say this is a hypothetical situation. What now? How do you spend your time now? You got everything. How do you spend your time now? You can't be just spending money all the time, or whatever. Like, what are you gonna do with all the money? You can't be just like throwing money all the time. You can't be just like making love with your girlfriend all the time. You can't be just in the gym all the time. So what are you gonna do now? So flow state, this one activity that gets you into this flow state where you forget that time is passing by, where you're so engaged and you feel so good. Like once you have experienced that, you kind of start chasing that all again and again. So it would be really cool to see that if this is something that you truly love and you have experienced these phases or these sessions where there have been 6-7 hours where you're so engaged into something like game dev, DSA, it'd be really cool to kind of, this is what people do, right? Like people find what activities gets them into flow state. They taste the flow state once or twice, and then their entire life is about chasing that flow state again and again, and then they align their entire life around that, around they align their entire life around that. I have aligned my entire life around the flow state of live streams, which is crazy thing to think about. But yes, if this is the peak human experience, that I want to experience this again and again, and I want to increase the probability of experiencing this again and again, and then I'll align my entire life around it. The autotelic nature. The chasing reflects how flow is elusive and highly motivating once experienced. People seek to recreate it. This is exactly what we're talking about. People seek to recreate it. For me, during live stream, it is really helpful when I have someone who is in the chat and when I am around beauty. These two things really increase the probability that I am going to be experiencing, let's say, 10 on 10 flow state. So if right now I would be watching, I would be sitting in a much more beautiful place, and I would be having, I would be like, it would be 6 p.m., 7 p.m., and there would be like a beautiful sun on my face, falling on my face. This would be incredible. This would be an incredible flow state that I would be getting into. But I really appreciate you. Because of you, I am feeling really engaged right now, and I'm feeling really stimulated. This is also the interesting thing about stimulation, right? It would be really cool to ask this question to Grok, but let me first riff over it without AI. We are all chasing stimulation. Again, what is flow state? What is peak human experience? It is stimulation. When you get into flow state, you are really stimulated. Your brain is firing. Your brain is firing all these whatever we call it, nerve cells. They are firing. They're firing on whatever. They're firing on 10x. They're processing at 10x, and you are really stimulated. The difference over here is that it's like watching a Harry Potter movie. When you watch a Harry Potter movie, you are watching this one-of-one interpretation of the Harry Potter book by the director. How the director interpreted this book, he is showing you, and you are just consuming exactly his interpretation. But when you are reading that book, when you are reading Harry Potter book, you are extremely stimulated. Why? Because as you are reading every word, your imagination, your cells, your brain is firing in different directions. Your brain is processing all these texts and using your abstract thinking of your mind to create these images in your brain. And they're very dynamic. As you keep reading the story, the Hogwarts on first page looked different, and as you kept on reading more, as it added more texture, more art, more character to the story, the picture of Hogwarts is changing in your mind. And that is what it is. Like, that is the reason why people say that reading fiction books before going to bed is good for your brain, it's good for your health. Why? Because it's really stimulating your brain. And your brain is multi-threading. In computer, you're talking about DSA. If you are looking into how our chips work, how NVIDIA chips work, how GPUs work, there's this idea of multi-threading, that you are doing 10 different tasks at the same time, and that's exactly what's happening. Your brain is stimulating in 10 different directions at the same time. It's so dynamic. It's like 5D. It's 5D. Stimulating. Okay, I don't know if the stream ended, but I think we are back. Okay. I don't know if you got the last part, but I think the internet dropped to 0 kbps. Internet needs to be fixed. Why is the internet so bad? But that was really cool. I wish that was recorded. Csikszentmihalyi frequently noted that such states occur when challenge matches or slightly exceeds skill level with clear goals and immediate feedback, conditions that high stakes motorsport like F1 exemplifies perfectly. Racing provides rapid, unambiguous feedback every corner, lap time, car feel, which strongly triggers flow. I thought my speed is slow. No, no, it's me. My Wi-Fi just dropped. Um, but I hope you got the last part. I think that was pretty good. It wasn't recorded. That was just lost in the ether. That entire, I think, 1 minute was lost in the ether. But yeah, the idea is simple. The idea is I read this somewhere. Create, consume, commune. A lot of people are just consuming. They're just scrolling TikTok or scrolling Reels. Consumption is part of it, but not 100% consumption. You want to consume, then you want to create, and then you also want to commune. Commune means meeting people, having conversations, sitting around a campfire, talking with people, going on walks and talking with people, hopping on call and talking with people, uh, going to events and talking to people and making memories, all that stuff. So create, consume, commune. You have to do all three of them at all times. And that's how you make this, that's how you make the best use of your time. And you feel very engaged. But yeah, I don't know if you got what I was talking about with respect to this idea of the stimulation that happens when you are reading a Harry Potter book versus when you are watching the Harry Potter book. And how when you are watching a movie, you are just watching one of one interpretation of this director of the book, versus when you're reading the book, with every text, your brain is using your abstract thinking to imagine. And with every single text, and that's so dynamic that with every single text it adds more character, it adds more texture, and the story becomes rich, and in your mind that entire picture becomes rich, and you start imagining this entire world which doesn't exist in reality. It's all in your head. And that is when you are really stimulated. You are way more stimulated when you are reading and imagining and using your abstract thinking versus when you are just watching a movie. So yeah, at the end of the day, we are all going after stimulation, but flow state puts you into this peak stimulation phase. So it's actually the peak stimulation. If the goal was just stimulation, then this is the peak stimulation. And it's also interesting. It's like a lot of people say that if you think you have a bad habit, I don't know what exactly I've heard, but basically if you have a bad habit, go to the very extreme where you get so bored of it that now you are like, okay, now I want to change my life and I'm done with this bad habit. So if you're, I don't know if this actually works, but if you're really into smoking, then smoke a lot, and to the point that it really hurts, and then you realize that, okay, this is bad for me, and then you quit. And then you're like, okay, now what's next? What's beyond this? This was a sort of stimulation that I was chasing, but what's next? So this is also very interesting. Yeah, maybe if all we are chasing is stimulation, then flow state is the peak stimulation. You'd probably praise the monologue as capturing the joy of optimal experience, not just performance enhancement, but a profound sense of being fully alive. He often said the best moments come when body and mind are stretched to their limits in a worthwhile challenge, and the scene embodies that. He might add a caution: while chasing flow is natural and enriching, over focusing on it or external outcomes like winning can disrupt it. Flow rises most reliably from intrinsic motivation and present moment engagement. Flow state also means that you are present. It also forces presence, which is so rare. Like, imagine next time you are in a conversation with a friend or anyone, with family, with friends, and you are just present. You are just listening to what they are saying, and you just keep listening to them. and there are going to be a lot of thoughts that come to your mind and a lot of responses that come to your mind, but ignore that and just listen and just be present. That's also something that flow state is really cool at. And then, yeah, I like to do this. I like to sit down sometimes with my family members and just listen to them and just listen to them. And the more space you give them, the more they go deeper, because they also realize that, okay, if this person is actually listening to me, there's a lot more inside them that they want to put out. He often said the best moments come when body and mind are stretched to the limits in a worthwhile challenge, and this scene embodies that. You might add a caution. While chasing flow is natural and enriching, da 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 da. Racing dangers also highlight flow's dark side potential, addictive pursuit of intensity. But overall, you would see it as a positive illustration of human potential. Human potential, yeah. We talk about this idea of consistency, and again, you can only get I mean, you can force consistency, or you can really look forward towards just your next flow state, and you end up being consistent. Like my entire live streams for last 2 years, where I've done like around 500 live streams now, 2 to 3 hour 500 live streams. This is not like a consistent schedule that, oh, every single day at 9 a.m. I'm gonna do a live stream. There were times where I was trying to schedule everything, but even though I was traveling, I was changing homes, I was changing countries, so much stuff is happening, but still I kept coming back to it. Why? Because I'm looking forward to it. So this is also beautiful. Like, instead of forcing and being very rigid that you have to be consistent, and consistency is key, and discipline and all of that, once you find this activity which gets you into flow state, you will just look forward to it, because you are like, now I have put so much into this activity, it's giving me this beautiful experience, this beautiful stimulation, that I just want to keep doing this. I tried the trick for quitting smoking. It doesn't work. It gets worse. Yeah. So I don't know if that works, if that is a good advice. Yeah, I don't know if that's a good advice, but I just heard that. Yeah. But what my point is, I think so, maybe not for smoking, but it definitely, it's also interesting. Some people, because you can apply this to travel as well. A lot of people, I don't know if you are very well traveled or not, if you have traveled a lot around the world or not, but a lot of people who travel a lot, we call them digital nomads, a lot of digital nomads who travel a lot, after a point they feel a sense of emptiness, that they are going to this new place. Paris, they look at Eiffel Tower. For first 5 seconds they are stimulated. It's a novel experience, it's a novel thing that they're looking at. And after 5 seconds they're like, okay, what now? I saw this one tower, what now? So people who travel a lot, after a while, same for me, travel a lot, after a while you are like, okay, now I'm done with this. Now I want home. And now I want to be in one place. So if you have an itch, if you scratch that itch, you start thinking beyond that now. You start thinking bigger. And this also applies to startups, right? You might have heard in startups that there's this idea that, hey, just increase the shipping velocity. Why? If you increase the shipping velocity, what happens is that every idea that comes to your mind, you are shipping that out in the world, you're putting that out in the world, and two things happen. Either you realize that, okay, that was just an itch, that was just a cool idea, I just wanted to put it out there, and now that it's out there, I'm done, I'm over it, and now I can think about the next idea. Or you quickly put something out there, and then you are like, oh, how small I was thinking. Now I need to think even bigger. So this is the reason. This is all about feedback. What do we say? Increasing the feedback velocity in life with every single aspect, whatever it is. With gym, increase the feedback velocity. If you're trying different things, then go to gym every single day and try different things, and you will see the changes. If you're talking about relationships, go to different events, talk to different people, and test, experiment different things and see what feedback you're getting from the world. If you're talking money, again, the same thing. Talking about a growing presence on Twitter, again, the same thing. Just throw a lot of shit out there. And you will quickly realize that, okay, either it was just an itch, I got it out there, and now I'm over it. Let's think about the next thing. Or you think about something, you're like, this is cool, but I was thinking small. Let's think bigger. What if I think bigger? What if I think bigger? And maybe I'm in the right direction. And that's how startups find their direction. That's what you hear about all these startup pivots and all of that. What are pivots and stuff? These are just like, you are, all the itches that you have, you're just throwing out there in the world. And most of them just were itches that you wanted to get out there, and now you're like, okay, that was it. Like, I didn't want to really follow through on that idea. But there are few where you're like, oh shit, this was cool, let's think bigger and let's keep investing in this, and people also love this, and then you keep doing it and you keep doing it. I don't know where we started, but this is where we ended. In short, chicks like me, I would recognize as one of the clearest cinematic depictions of flow in sports, similar to how athletes like Senna describe being in another dimension, or a tunnel. Yes, tunnel is so beautiful. When you're in a conversation with someone who is very aligned with how you think, you're gonna feel this thing called tunnel, where you just want to talk to them. You just wanna. This comes up with artists a lot more, because you are not rigid. You it, it really helps to not be rigid. The entire journey of life, I think Picasso has this beautiful quote that it took me 4 years to paint like Raphael, and it took me a lifetime to paint like a child. So basically, the journey of life is that you grow up, you come into this world as a child. When you are 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, life happens to you, you become rigid. And then the goal at the end of the life is to become a child all over again. Most people are not able to become a child, but it's really important that you break all those shells, all that like trauma, whatever we are talking about, insecurities and all that stuff, to become a child all over again. That means you are in your truest form, and you are in the most natural form. You are doing the things that you truly care about. You are, yeah, you are you are listening to your intuition. You're following your intuition. It's very interesting. Like, when you don't know what these stuff means, it's really hard to grasp the meaning. I don't know how old you are, but I started my career as a product manager, and in product management, it was very normal to say this thing that follow your intuition, follow your product intuition, like much more formal, much more professional. Follow your product intuition. Because obviously we were 19, 20, and we didn't really understand. We took things literally. But people who are 10 years, decades into their profession of product management, they think about it much more deeper than the literal professional sense. They think about it more in a philosophical way, in a spiritual way. They look at their work differently. They look at their work very holistically, not just the professional way that I want to make money, but also people who are truly genius, people who are truly, let's say, who truly care about their craft. They think about their work philosophically, spiritually, all that kind of stuff. And that's when you understand that, okay, I'm not like decades into my career, but let's say I'm getting closer. I'm now starting to understand some stuff which I didn't understand, let's say 5, 6, 7 years ago. And now you understand that, okay, what does it mean to follow your intuition? Because there is something inside you that is telling you to go in a certain direction. And it takes a lot of courage to say that, okay, I will actually make that happen. Okay, don't you think you are addicted to flow state? Isn't it bad like other addiction? Yes, it's an addiction. It isn't it? Like, we literally just read it over here. Chiksuk Mihai would recognize as one of the clearest cinematic depictions of flow in sports. Da, 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 da. It shows why people devote themselves to demanding activities for those rare transcendent moments of flying. This also reminds me of that guy who was climbing, it was live stream on Netflix, who was climbing the Taipei 101 tower, and he also talks a lot about flow state because again, there's a lot of danger involved. If he messes up, he's gonna fall. But also, he's very skilled, and also that's the right amount of challenge. So it's a good mixture. But anyways, you see what that guy is doing too, right? Like that is dangerous. What he's doing, he is climbing Taipei 101. He's live streaming that on Netflix to everyone, and there are no harnesses around him. It is very dangerous, but there's also this beautiful idea. Okay, we're getting deeper over here, but I'm guessing you know APJ Abdul Kalam, and you know how APJ Abdul Kalam died. He died on a stage while giving a speech. He fell and he died. And for some reason, recently, that image and that story, we read this when we were young, and for some reason, that image, that story hit me. Where, because I worked hard, I did the right things, and I created a good life for myself and a comfortable life for myself. And now I'm like, oh, am I gonna just die like this? Because then I'm trying to just make sure that I still have this life of comfort and not go for the crazy goals that I have. So then I started thinking that it would be so weird that if I just die like this on my beautiful bed, on my beautiful mattress and bed frame and this beautiful house, I would want to die like that. I would like to die while doing the thing that I truly care about. So that was kind of my motivation to take this leap, change my country, move from like leave, wrap up my entire life in Vancouver, move to network school in Malaysia, and then go home and like get on this journey. And yeah, the goal is that I would rather die doing the thing that I want than die comfortably thinking that I could have done or I should have done something. So that's also, I think just today I read something. Today I read something, I forgot who said it, but it's like how I would like to go away from this world is drop dead on the stage, which again means that I'm a performer. I love my craft. All I want to do is perform, and ideally how I would love to die is drop dead on the stage while I'm performing. So yeah, I think you are always going to be addicted to something. You're always going to be addicted to something. That's what we are talking, right? We are always chasing stimulation. Even people who are meditating, what are they chasing? They're chasing transcendence. They are chasing this feeling, this what do we call this sensation of transcendence, which is again stimulation. It's the same stimulation that we're talking about, where your abstract thinking is running on full engine. So you're always chasing something. You're always chasing a stimulation. You're always chasing an addiction. You just have to decide that is your addiction a good addiction or a bad addiction? Is it a virtuous cycle? Is it a spiral that's taking you upwards, or is it a spiral that's taking you downwards? Because if you are smoking all the time, it is messing up with your health and everything. But there are people who are addicted to gym and then who are just working out all the time. Then there are people who are addicted to work, who are working all the time. People who are addicted to meditation. There are these monks who are meditating all the time. So that's also addiction. Would you call that a dangerous addiction? I don't know. What else? F1, like this guy, like right in this query, Grok is saying that yes, F1 is a dangerous addiction. The chasing of flow state in F1, that's a dangerous addiction. What did it say? Racing's dangers also highlight flow's dark side potential, addictive pursuit of intensity. But overall, he would see it as a positive illustration of human potential. So this is it. Flow state becomes an addiction every time you experience the peak state. You want more of it, and you try to align your entire life to create more of it, to create it on a schedule, and then every time you reach your level that you wanted, now you want to 10x that level, or not 10x, but you want to get to the next level of it. So that's also how human potential works, right? All the athletes, look at all the athletes, they are constantly pushing their numbers. They are trying to hit the world records. I don't know if you saw the enhanced games in LA that happened, which was all about that. Okay, uh, in Olympics, athletes are not allowed to take some drugs, but most athletes are taking drugs. They are just not getting caught by the system. So instead, what if we actually create a new sort of Olympics where we allow people to take all the drugs they want? I think it's only like allowed drugs, but whatever. In Olympics, people are still doping, but you are not getting caught. A lot of people are not getting caught. So they are like, okay, let's go dope and go try to hit the world records. And what's happening now, like they are using dope, they're doping, they're using drugs, they're using all the different mechanisms, all the peptides and all that stuff to keep hitting the limits of human potential in swimming, in archery, in running, whatever. So the goal is so, but this is only one off moment, right? Like only once every 4 years Olympics happen. So what happens during those 4 years? During the 4 years, they are constantly in this flow state. They are constantly. Are you sure meditation is addiction? Let's ask Grok. Can meditation become an addiction? I think that's a fair question. Can meditation become an addiction? Or are some people addicted to meditation? Yes, meditation can become an addiction, though it's typically a behavioral addiction rather than a chemical one. While meditation is overwhelmingly beneficial and often helps treat other addictions, excessive or unbalanced practice can lead to dependency, avoidance, harm, reward and escape. Meditation can produce feelings of calm, bliss, peace, and or euphoria. Exactly. Similar to flow states. This is exactly what we're talking about, right? People who are really into there's this very specific form of meditation. It's called TM, transcendental meditation. The entire idea is this peak human experience of transcendence. I want to feel transcendence. What is transcendence? Transcendence is this extreme stimulation phase, which you can call euphoria, which you can call a flow state. So once most people don't experience it because it's hard. It's like Maslow's hierarchy. Because Maslow's hierarchy of distractions, because alcohol, let's say, because TikTok is so easy distraction, you get easily consumed by it. Once you are over TikTok, then you are like, okay, now close to me there's a alcohol store. So then alcohol is really accessible. So that becomes an easy addiction. Then TV, and then whatever, cars. Once you have money, then cars can become an addiction, then boats can become an addiction, then real estate properties can become an addiction, then even love can become an addiction. If you yeah, love can become an addiction. And once you go through all of that, then you are like, what's next? Then you find meditation. So meditation, yes, I'm guessing the reason you're asking that is because you are thinking if meditation can be an addiction. Are you sure meditation is addiction? So I'm guessing you're thinking that if meditation was addictive, then people would be pretty much everybody would be addicted to meditation and not be scrolling TikTok. I'm guessing that's what your thought process is. But the problem is, other addictions are so easily accessible that you are distracted by them. You're not even thinking about meditation, because meditation, to reach the euphoria, to reach that transcendent state, to experience that flow state that will become addictive, a lot of effort has to be made. So that effort is something that most people don't put into it. And I think the same thing goes for any other flow state. For me, live streaming, I don't think I really felt flow state in the first 6 months. I don't know. I don't remember. But the real flow states that I remember was only in the last 3 months, which is after almost 1.5 years. So it does take a lot of effort, lot of time to give to an activity. It takes a lot of time to, it takes a lot of, you have to give a lot of time to an activity before you get skilled enough that when you're doing that activity, you are getting into this beautiful flow state because you are skilled. And same thing for me for French. The entire last year, the first 6 months, I was not getting into flow state. My brain was hurting with all these conjugations and all these vocabulary and words and everything and stressing about things. But then around October, I went to Montreal and I'm getting goosebumps. I'm getting that stimulation because I'm remembering my flow state. I'm in Montreal and just randomly I pick a restaurant. I'm sitting over there and I ordered some wine and I ordered some food, and beside me there's this old couple, and I'm talking to the old man over here, and we are having a good conversation, and because I'm learning French, I'm just like dropping a little bit of French over there. But then I turn towards the old lady, and she cannot speak English really well, so she can only speak in French. So now I'm forced to speak my French, and then I'm also drinking. It's been around 7 to 8 months since I have been practicing French, and now I am not only drunk, but not drunk, but I'm not only tipsy, in a good mood, in a good vibe, in a beautiful restaurant with some beautiful food, but I'm also gonna forced to speak in French because this lady cannot speak English really well. And that's when I really got into flow state, and I remember that. So all the good flow states which are addictive takes a lot of effort to develop that skill, to be skilled enough to start experiencing flow. And same for meditation. The upfront effort that you have to put into that activity before you experience that euphoria, before you experience that transcendence, is a lot, which most people are not patient enough. Picking up a joint, picking up weed, picking up marijuana, picking up shrooms, picking up whatever, any sort of drug is so easy. The upfront effort is so low that people get distracted over there, and people get into these cheaper addictions. The richer addictions of life requires a lot of upfront effort. That was beautiful. I also think like thinking is a form of talking is a form of thinking. So there are a lot of things that as I am talking to you, as you're asking me these questions, as I'm responding, I am making sense of all these things in my mind as I go. I don't have any answers. I am making sense of everything as I go. And that is something which is beautiful. And I appreciate you giving me these questions because that is really, again, this is stimulating me. This is we are in peak flow state right now. I have no idea how we spend 2 hours on the streams right now. This is crazy. Meditation can produce feelings of calm, bliss, peace, euphoria, similar to flow states. People may chase these sensations compulsively, much like exercise, gaming, or workaholism. Exactly. Gaming, just download your whatever Call of Duty, COD, pick up your console, you are into flow state. You are into flow, kind of. Gaming also puts you into flow state. It's addictive. With meditation, it requires a lot of upfront effort before you experience that euphoria, and then you start chasing that euphoria. Workaholism, this creates a dependent relationship where it's hard to feel good or cope without it. Spiritual bypassing, calm mechanism in meditation is used to avoid unresolved. I think this was very interesting. I think I read this recently that one of India's athlete, she won a medal somewhere, and she said that my routine is 2 hours meditation every single day. I don't know why I said that, but that's what I said. That's what I read. Avoid unresolved instead of integrating insights into daily life, one retreats into practice to sidestep pain or real world problems. Habit formation tolerance. Some develop tolerance, needing longer sessions for the same effect, or feel anxious or irritable when they skip it. Flow producing activities which meditation can facilitate can become addictive if they lead to loss of control over one's life. Hmm. Flow producing activities can become addictive if they lead to loss of control over one's life. This is actually very interesting. So, since you are seeing what's happening today in the world, AI is moving so fast. Big companies don't know what they are doing. Small startups, they're constantly experimenting, constantly new stuff is coming out. You don't know where the world is going. A lot of stuff is happening in the world. It is being directly broadcasted to us on Twitter, Instagram, whatever. So much stuff is happening to us. If you're running a business, you don't know, you kind of want to keep tabs on everything that is happening. So how do you control? For a lot of men, for a lot of businessmen, business people, gym, going to gym becomes this activity that at least in a day they control the gym thing. At least during the day, they fully control this one thing where they just go to the gym, they walk into this room, they lift some heavy weights, they do these certain exercises, and they can fully control that. And that becomes addictive. Why? Because that's the only thing that they can control in a day. So this is the same concept over here, that if you are working today, like live streaming for me has become this flow state. Why? Because it helps me, but while I'm changing countries, as new stuff is happening in the industry, it is helping me have some sort of control during the day. Neglecting work, relationships, or basic responsibilities to meditate. Irritability, anxiety, or withdrawal when unable to practice. Using it to avoid emotions or social connections. Increasing sessions dramatically while feeling benefits diminish. Very interesting. Wow. It's time for me to go to bed. So I'll go to bed now. But this was very interesting. Thank you for all your questions. All right.